Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, and welcome to another video. So this is going to be another episode of Road to 1000 Dueling Book Rating, and as you can see, this one's going to be a little bit different. So I played a whole bunch of matches on ladder earlier today, and unfortunately, none of them were super compelling or standout in terms of like high quality of gameplay. They were all kind of mediocre to be honest, but I still want to showcase these off because I am playing Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc in these replays here. And I will admit, I kind of initially wrote the deck off upon seeing the ban list just because the limitation of Recital Sterling and the banning of Simorg really hurt a lot. But that being said, upon further inspection, I think the deck's actually fine and not to be underestimated. There's a lot of potent combos this deck can still do. You just kind of have to reevaluate them and retool them to fit the current format. And I think that, it's still a work in progress. I kind of just sat down today with a random build and just, kind of like freestyled. If I'm being honest, I don't have like a spreadsheet or anything, but maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll work on a remastered combo tutorial, if you will. So if you want to see that, let me know down in the comment section below. But we got a lot of matches to go through. Each of them are pretty short, but I still want to talk about them quite a bit. So let's get started and not waste any more time without any further ado. So this first one here, we're going to win the RPS up against is going to be against Tenyi Sword Soul. And even though they quit after game one, I think it's a good demonstration of what the deck is designed to do in a vacuum. So we're going first, of course. Our opening hand is going to be Ghost Ogre, Sapphire Swallow, Double Fractal, Bird Call. Really good going first. We have Fractal Warbler, which is a very, very staple bread and butter combo. There's a lot of different ways you can do this, and I'll kind of run through the different options as we go through here. But yeah, lots of cool plays available. I am playing also a lot of hand traps in this list, even more than last format. I'm on 12 right now, but you could conceivably fit 15 or even more. But yeah, I just want to have a lot of defensive cards this format. And then their hand going second is going to be Ashana, Italy, Vessel, Adhara, and the Ecclesia. So they have no hand traps, so we're able to free combo. So we're going to go first with a copy of a Bird Call, which is pretty predictable. We're going to search for a copy of Warbler, and then we're going to activate the effect of Fractal in here. We're going to send a copy of Cobalt Sparrow, and then we're going to special out the Warbler that we searched, and then bring back this copy of the Cobalt Sparrow that we sent, and then we're going to trigger the effect to search for a Nerval. This is all pretty standard stuff that you're probably used to seeing by now. We're going to go for Recital Sterling, and because we have Sapphire Swallow, we can go for a different search. We go for Duty Crow here. So my initial thought process was we don't need to go for Wagtail first off because we would use Bird Call, but we don't need to search for Barrow Canary either because this is a pretty heavy focus on Revolt with Bear Bloom, which is pretty expected if I'm being honest. And the classic conflict in the deck is that you can't Bear Bloom and Barrow Canary in the same turn. Like it's just not possible. They are mutually exclusive. And so you kind of run into this issue where you have to pick between one or the other, and I think that Revolt just offers better follow-up, even though the Lyriluscs are still integral to the end board. Yeah, I decided to just hold off and search for DD Crow right now, but I kind of backpedal a little bit later on just because I have like a surplus of searches later, as you'll see. So here we're going to go for Sapphire Swallow, summon out itself and Nerval, and here's where it starts to deviate a bit. So we're going to go ahead and link into a copy of Farid, and this is where, we're not going for a second Xyz monster. Some people are experimenting with a copy of, what's it called, Sylvan Princess Sprite, which is not too bad if you want to go for UFD lines still. Or UDF line still, but I find this to be a bit more consistent because this way you put a lot of bodies in grave. Like even if you don't start Fractal, if you just hard open Warbler Sparrow, you still have 4 monsters in grave, which is really, really good for guaranteeing that you have both a Nerval activation and a Kit activation, so you can pretty much end on Revolt, DDO, Appaloosa pretty much every single time. And that is a pretty good baseline foundation for these combos. And I think that Appaloosa serves like a very similar purpose to DDL. Like if you get Nibiru'd, then you still have ways to recover from it, which is not too bad. You can also reroute your combos accordingly. But yeah, we banish 4 here for the Omen, and we do this because we are able to go ahead and get 2 searches with our when we hard make Berry Bloom. And here's where I go and search the Wagtail off the Omen. I kind of again backtrack from what I said earlier, just because I want more follow up and because we haven't used our normal summon or our Farid special summon, I want to get value off of both this turn. So we're going to go ahead and Farid out this copy of the Wagtail, and then we're going to Wagtail to search for a follow-up Bird Call. And then we're going to normal summon out this copy of Kit, and then we're going to Kit to banish 2. We're going to summon out DDL, which is very predictable. And from here, there's a lot of things you can do. So you can actually Bear Bloom effect, pitching 2 of these cards to bring back any of your birds. And they can overlay with the bird they bring back and the Wagtail here to go for a copy of the Ensemble Robin. I don't do that because I want to keep both these hand traps since you have to put back a card anyway for Revolt. So that's like a pretty large hand investment. And I'm just not super keen on that. I prefer not to pitch 2 for Berry Bloom if I can help it. So what I do instead is just make a big old Appaloosa. And that's pretty good. I'd be more compelled to do it or to, go for the Berry Bloom line if I was able to still activate this Bird Call and search for Barrow Canary, because then I would pitch the Canary to the grave, which is, good to add back off Robin, but like right now I have nothing good to add back off Robin, at least not yet. Unless if I like resolve Revolt, which isn't too hard to do. But yeah, here we're gonna go ahead and resolve our effects. We are playing Prosperity in the list as well, just for added consistency. And we're gonna go and set this Revolt and pass. So, we have a pretty good setup here. We have Appaloosa, DDO, Revolt, which is great follow-up. More follow-up in Bird Call and 2 hand traps. And something I want to try that I didn't think of until after is I want to try the Fabled Cerebral with Herald of the Arclight, because I could have searched the Cerebral off Omen and then search Karis off the Nerval and then pitched the Cerebral to summon out the Karis and then go for Herald, which is like really good this format. So that's something I am kind of considering as well. But yeah, they draw a second copy of Ashana here. And so they're going to begin with Ashana. They're going to summon itself. I don't do anything to this because I just want to deal with the threats as I hit the board. We don't really mind the hand effects, especially the 10 use too much. But here they go into Monk, and then they fire off this Vessel, the Dragon Cycle, a Vessel for the Dragon Cycle. And then this is too good of an opportunity to pass up. I'm just going to DDL to bounce this because it not only prevents them from getting a search, but now their 10 use right now are off unless they are able to get another non-effect monster on the board. They can attempt to do so by way of this Adhara, which we will negate. I do this because I want them to commit to their normal summon, because I don't know if they have Sword Souls, but even if they don't have Sword Souls in the list, this means that they can't normal summon like Red Rose Dragon, for instance, which is like a much more impactful normal summon than like a Tenyi. To be fair, the base lists, like the 60 card, like Brave, Tenyi, Synchro lists, or like even the list without the Tenyis, they don't like tend to play like this big package with like Vessel and everything anymore. At least most lists. All lists look just really, really different right now. There's like a lot of different flavors of combo with Brave you can do. But yeah, they're going to special out Ecclesia. She doesn't activate in hand, but she does activate on the field, so we can stop this. And now that I see that it is Sword Soul, I can assume that they're also on like Halka Fibrax stuff, just because like that's how a lot of people are playing the deck right now. And so I want to cut off bodies, like rather than wait for like Moye or Taya to hit the board. I decided to just like cut off the body altogether. Yeah, so they're gonna normal summon Adhara. I thought about using Revolt, but I'm like, if they go into Monk, I just Revolt the Monk. And here they have Etel here. So now we know that they're going for Halka Fibrax. So we got to fire off this Revolt and just banish the Adhara, which does more by itself than the Ghost Ogre by itself. We're going to go and trigger all of our effects here. So we're going to go draw, put back, go for Fractal, and then banish the Adhara. They're going to try and Vishuda, but they have no non-effect monsters, so they can't actually do this. And then they're going to concede and then leave the game. So again, I think that's a pretty good showcase of what the deck is trying to do, just like in a vacuum, like in theory. So now let's kind of look at it more in practice here. So this matchup is going to be up against Madolche. And this one is going to be against a deck that puts a bit more resistance because you have a lot of DtheSecond cards. So our opening hand is going to be going first, a copy of Fractal, Durval, Warbler, Ghost Ogre, Bird Call. Again, really, really good hand. Almost the same as last time, actually. And then their hand is going to be Angeli, Lightning Storm, Small World, Hcabe, and Imperm. So a couple of ways to deal with our board. So we're going to begin the same way. We're going to go ahead and Fractal, setting a copy of Sparrow here. And then we're going to Warbler to try and summon out the Sparrow, but it gets impermed, which is not too big of a deal because we do have Nerval as a way to extend, and that is very solid. Because we drew Fractal, we have fodder to go ahead and banish to make use of this and get value. So we're going to go ahead and summon out this copy of Farigit. And then here we're going to go for a copy of Recital Starling. We can Starling to go detach this Nerval to go and search for a copy of a Cobalt Sparrow because we have not actually used her effect yet since the Warbler got impermed. And then we can search Kit off Nerval. And because we have Bird Call, we can actually get value off both the Cobalt Sparrow and the Kit this turn by using Bird Call to summon out Sparrow and then Farigit to summon out the Kit. So we're going to go ahead and Bird Call to go for Barrow Canary. And then we're going to go and summon out the Sparrow. We're going to Sparrow effect to go and search for a DD Crow just because we have everything else already. And then we're going to go and use this Farigit effect to summon out this copy of Kit. And then here I go into Appaloosa. So I have options. You'll notice I didn't actually use Kit to summon out Berry Bloom and then go Appaloosa. Just because like if I do that, then again, my Barrow Canary is off. And then I don't really have any other interruptions besides Appaloosa, Revolt. And I want to end on a bit more than that. So even though this play is going to be weaker in terms of follow-up, it is going to put up a stronger board. So we're going to Farigit to draw into Ash, which is pretty nice. And then we're going to put back DD Crow. And then we're going to go ahead and Kit effects to go and banish 2 to go and summon out DDL. And because we didn't use Berry Bloom at all, we still have the Barrow Canary as follow-up to go and bring back this Cobalt Sparrow, and we're going to go and make a copy of Robin. So right here, the follow-up is in the form of the Lyriluscs rather than the Revolt, but we have this Kit on board still, which if it gets cleared, can send Nerval at Fractal anyhow. So that was kind of my thought process, is that like, oh yeah, this is probably stronger follow-up. Yeah, we don't have Revolt here, but I do think that like this is more interruptions just in general. They draw Chateau. And then they're going to be getting things out with their Lightning Storm. And the funniest thing is that actually I wanted, it would have been better for me if I had Kit in attack position here, because this would be cleared, and then I'd be able to get a search. But we're playing against Madolche, right? And they have Tiramisu, which is going to just spin this back, and that does happen. So we're going to get our Robin effect to add back. We're going to add back the Bureau Canary, and then they're going to go in Small World here. Obviously, I'm not going to Ash yet because I want to see what deck they're on. And now that we know they're on Madolche, we have a better idea of where to stop them. And Pankratops is a pretty cool bridge to go ahead and add this copy of the Petting Sasori to their hand, which they will go ahead and use. They're going to go and activate the effect on field to summon from the deck, which we will Ash Blossom in response. And then they do have the follow-up in the Angeli, which is pretty nice. They go ahead and activate the effect. They tribute it away to go and summon out this copy of Magileine from deck. And then they're going to overlay into, excuse me, Tiramisu. My throat is a little bit like clogged right now, so excuse me if my voice is a little bit weird. But yeah, they're going to go for the Tiramisu. And then we are going to chain Ghost Ogre just because I don't want them to make Zeus. So yeah, we're going to put back this Kit, which of course it still resolves. But, you know, they probably don't have follow-up because they already normal summon and use like their Petting Sasori and stuff. And like they don't have 2 cards to make use of like Salon or anything. So yeah, play passes back to us. We draw into a call by. So the Sparrow Canary, again, is like a lot weaker now because like we don't have a second Recital Starling to like do stuff with. Well, we can't go like special out like Sparrow, search, and then like go into a Recital and then get like another copy of the Bluebird. I can't remember its name, Sapphire Swallow, and then go ahead and, you know, summon like more stuff. But yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna Barrel Canary here, and then we're gonna summon out the Cobalt Sparrow. They actually concede here, but like the play is just, you know, to search for Nerval and then just go assemble Downward Zeus, and then you pretty much pray from there that Zeus is gonna carry us here. But yeah, they are gonna concede upon seeing this. So game 2 time, they're gonna be going first. So opening hand is gonna be Cobalt Sparrow, Ogre, Ash, Prosperity, and Bird Call. So really good hand. Warboy Sparrow is pretty nice. And then their hand's going to be Lightning Storm, Messenger Gelato, Imperm, Hcabe, and Prosperity. Interesting that I actually kept this in going first. I did not know that they had this here. So they're going to Prosperity, and they also make an interesting decision to only banish 3 in a hand that has no starters. And they actually whiff on it. So they're just going to pick up this Imperm and then pass back to us. This is why I said, like, you know, these matches were not particularly amazing, but they have some, like, good points in them. So we're going to use Prosperity ourselves. We can get away with banishing 3 because we have our engine already. And we're going to go pick up this copy of Tenki just to be able to play through hand traps better and the known Imperm. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and Bird Call for a Warbler. And then we're going to Warbler out this copy of Cobalt Sparrow, or try to at least, but that's going to be met with Imperm. No big deal, we have this Tenki still, so we're going to go and activate the Fractal to go and pitch it to send Kit, send Nerval, and then we're going to add Fractal. Realistically, I should have actually just sent Kit to add, or sorry, sent Nerval to add Kit. But I kind of realized as I was doing it, I realized I messed up. But yeah, Fractal is going to be Impermed here as well. And what I could do, obviously, is I could go into Farid to summon out Cobalt Sparrow, but I am not playing Rugal in this list, which I changed immediately afterwards. So yeah, I definitely should be playing Rugal, and this is why, because like without the Samorg Link, you can't actually like turn your Farid plus Cobalt Sparrow into anything like super profitable, but you do need like a Link 3 to generically go into. And I was playing Doom Eagle, but you can't go into Doom Eagle with those. And so, like, this getting into Barrel Canary to end on Robin is actually not a play. And I am playing 2 Farid, but I banished one of them off of this Prosperity. So I couldn't go, like, you know, make a second Farid with Farid and Cobalt Sparrow and just do it that way. So force actually just attack here and then pass. So yeah, you know, not ideal, of course. This would be better if it was a Kit in this kind of scenario, but that is why we kind of go over mistakes in our replays. They're going to draw Small World for turn, which is clearly like their top deck. Like they would have played last turn if they had it. So I could Ash this, but I'm not inclined to do so just because I want them to use more resources, if I'm being honest. Plus, I don't want to like play into a Gamma if they are, like if they happen to have it and they just didn't use it at all for some reason on my turn. So they're going to Petting Sasori here. They actually probably should have Lightning Storm just because like that puts me on a top deck right here. But yeah, they don't decide to do it. They're going to go ahead and Petting Sasori, we chain Ash Blossom. And then they're going to go for a Hcabe. And then they're going to just go and enter the battle phase, attack over Warbler, and then they're going to go into the Sistart, and then they're going to pass. Thankfully, we draw a Nerval, and we have this Fractal with now 2 Tri-Beasts engraved, so this should just be the end of the game. We're going to activate Fractal, we're going to banish 2, we're going to summon out the Farid, summon out the Sparrow, and then they're going to concede. So yeah, that is like a pretty good demonstration of like what the deck does through some disruption, most notably hand traps. Not really engine disruption, but through hand traps mostly. So the next one is going to be up against, this is up against Gren Maju. And so this one I think is like the most interactive of these games. So yeah, let's go ahead and show this off. So we win the die roll again, which is pretty good. But this time we don't open a play. We open 4 hand traps and call by. I pass here. I don't set call by, which actually was a mistake in this matchup, but I didn't want to get blown out by a... Wait, actually, did I win the RPS or did my opponent win the RPS? I forget. Yeah, no, they won the RPS. Yeah. They won the RPS and they chose to go second, right? So that's why I didn't set, because I was thinking that they were probably like on a blind second list. Well, they are on a blind second list, clearly. So like they could be playing like Lightning Storm and I don't want to play into that. So like if I set call by, I would feel kind of compelled to set at least one imperm, because like you're not guaranteed to have the call by like actually be used before you can imperm profitably, which is why I don't set anything. But that gets punished here by this Glyph the Phantom Bird, which would be a prime call by the Graves target, and then have these imperms and Ash and Nibiru in hand. So yeah, I got punished there, pretty much like rightfully so. Gonna go ahead and go for the Golden Castle. They're gonna castle effect. They're gonna summon out to the Hex Tree from deck. I don't Ash this because I'm saving this for Desires and for like trade in. Admittedly, Desires is at 1, which I keep kind of forgetting about the fact that Desires is at 1 in terms of like what's the probability of them drawing it. I'm just like, oh yeah, Desires is like still a card, especially when it comes to this deck. But yeah. We hit trade in off the Thunderbird. They're going to draw into a Gizmic, which actually is game, because they're just going to go attack, battle phase still, Gizmic, attack for 2450, and then they're going to super poly me, and then I just lose. So, yeah, I mean, we didn't really get to do a whole lot, but that was just a product of me not setting Call by the Grave and then just like not ashing the Golden Castle because I thought like I could save this for a more impactful card. So, yeah, that's on me. That's just my bad. We're going to go ahead and just move into game 2 here. So game 2, we're going to make them go first because I noticed that they instantly were done siding. So I'm like, okay, that means that they're just going to keep in the go second game plan. And so we're going to make them go first. So our opening hand going second is going to be Ash, Fractal, Kit, Lancia, and Ghost Ogre. So pretty good. And then their hand's going to be Trade-In, Alpha, Reboot, Eater of Millions, and Dogram. I do Shotgun Lancia here. Again, like there's only one what's it called, Desires, but it's still fine, I think. We're going to Ash their Trade-In, which actually stops their turn. They kept him Reboot against us, which I guess they didn't know the matchup, so that's fair. We draw a copy of Tenki, which is just more redundant access to tri-plays, but it's still fine because we get into our Lyrilusc engine. So we're going to go ahead, Fractal to send Kit to go ahead and, to send Nerval to add Karis because we drew the Kit. And then we're going to pitch the Kit off the Karis, and then we're going to Kit effect to send a Nerval. And then here we're going to banish 4, we're going to go and summon out the Shurag, and then we're going to Shurag effect, and then they're just going to concede here. So yeah, again, those 2 games were not super interactive, but the third one is like relatively interactive, which is decent. So yeah, they're going to choose to go first, actually. They draw Maju, TCB, Gdarla, not Gdarla, Gameciel, Reboot, and Regeki. I don't know why I call this Gdarla. But yeah, they don't have a play here. And then our hand's going to be Fractal, Lancia, Karis, Prosperity, and Warbler. So our hand's pretty solid. We shotgun again, but obviously their hand does nothing, so we just neg 1 there. We draw DD Crow for turn. And we have Fractal Warbler, so I'm like, okay, we're in business, but they have TCB, which is really good against the Lyrilusc portion. So we're going to send a copy of Wagtail. Here, I'm like trying out different combos, right? I'm, again, just sort of freestyling here. We're going to go for Warbler, and then we're going to go for this copy of Wagtail. Wagtail Chainlink 1, and then they're going to TCB Chainlink 2. And so we're going to go ahead and get our search for a copy of Bird Call. They should have done it in response to the Warbler. I don't know why they actually let the summon go through. Yeah, they should just flip this because they said that they were flipping it on summon. So they were not they were not doing it in response to the Warbler. Here we're gonna Prosperity just because we want to dig for more outs to this. And then we're gonna go ahead and we find a Kit, which is actually like really, really good here. Because that gets us into more tri-plays, and that's like really potent. Now unfortunately we can't go into Omen because of the fact that Omen's a winged beast, and that it presents a bit of a problem here. So we're going to Karis to pitch Kit. We're going to send Nerval to add Fractal. And then we're going to go with Karis to banish 2. This allows us to put the DD on board, which is the Beast Warrior. And then we can out the TCB this way. Another option was to go into this, because this is actually our only non-Beast or Winged Beast link too. But like we could have gone to Access Code if we really wanted to. And then just like play from there. But I mean, I decided to do it this way just because like I am not likely to game my opponent this turn because of Prosperity. So I decided to do it like this. So we have a normal summon still. We're going to spend it on Fractal. And we're going to Fractal effect here. We're going to banish this, or 3 rather. And you can see, yeah, we were on the G-Meagle. This game was actually played before the Medolce one, but I want to show the Medolce one just like, for sequencing purposes. we're going to go ahead and use this copy of Omen. We're going to banish this reboot, so Omen pretty much didn't banish anything relevant there. And then we're going to go for a copy of Farid afterwards, and then we're going to Shurag to search for a copy of Cobalt Sparrow. And then we're going to go ahead and use Bird Call that we searched earlier off the Wagtail, and now we can like get value off the Cobalt Sparrow, and we still have Farid the special summon, so we have a lot of plays to do still. And we haven't like used Nerval's on field effect yet, so they're going to concede, which they probably shouldn't have. I think they forgot that I was under Prosperity, so they're only taking half damage. They probably thought I had game, which, you know, in circumstances where I was able to, you know, just do 8,000 only, this would be game probably. But yeah, they had like Regeki Kaiju plus like they can reset TC To be fair, they have no engine going, but that's just kind of how things go. The final replay that I want to show off here is going to be up against Altergeist, and this one's just kind of a funny one, so I just wanted to share this one. This one's not meant to be taken like super seriously, but yeah, they win the RPS. They're gonna go first, and so their hand is gonna be Silk, Evenly, Spoofing, Extrav, and Strike. Our hand is Double Ash, DD Crow, Imperm, Wagtail. So yeah, we can't play right now. We're gonna Ash the Extravagance. They're gonna set 2 and pass. We draw Bird Call, which unlocks a hand, but only a little bit because Warbler summoning out this doesn't actually get us into more engine by itself, because of the fact that, you know, Bird Call is in fact a once per turn, of course. So they're going to Spoofing in response to a Bird Call. We're going to Ash, and then they're going to Strike. So they get access to their Faker here, and then we're going to search for our copy of Warbler. Then on Res, they're going to activate Faker, and you can already see where this is going. We're just going to Imperm the Faker. And then here, it's like not really full combo because we can't do a ton, but we're going to like progress as far as we can. So we're going to go ahead and activate the Wagtail off the Warbler, and we're going to search for a follow-up Bird Call, which is good. We're going to go for Recital. We're going to Recital to search for a copy of Nerval. And then we're going to reattach the Wagtail because I'm going to go for Zeus here. Because like in a simplified game state like this, where I have follow-up as strong as like this, Zeus is probably sufficient. So yeah, we go downward Zeus. We're going to Zeus wipe the board. And then we are going to go for normal summon of Nerval. And here I make a bit of a mistake. So I go for Bird Bloom because I want to search Revolt. But I didn't realize that I actually don't have enough to make what's it called? Omen with these, because the Bear Bloom was not properly summoned, so I don't have 4 names to actually go into unless I use Zeus. But if I use Zeus, then I'm wiping my Revolt. So I actually kind of overlooked that. I was thinking earlier when I was like before I went over this, I was thinking like maybe I should have gone like summon out Farigit and then like turn Nerval into Salmon Almirage, and then search for the kit, and then Almirage to clear itself from the board to make space under the link zone of the Farigit, and then, you know, kit effect to banish 2, summon out Bear Boom, go for Appaloosa. But I actually wouldn't have had enough Tri-Beasts engraved, I wouldn't have had enough Tri-Beasts engraved to make that work, because this wouldn't be engraved and it would just be the Nerval. So that wasn't a play either, unless I wanted to expend my DD Crow, which I could have. That wouldn't have been horrible. So like, these are just kind of all things to consider. At least maybe it could have been Appaloosa, Revolt, Zeus. But it just ends up being Zeus Revolt instead. They're going to evenly us, which is like totally fine, because we're just going to keep a Revolt, which is follow-up and interruption for their last card, which is a copy of Compulsory. So yeah, we're just going to do that. We're going to Revolt and then phase, because now that our Recital that was underneath the Zeus is now in the graveyard, we can just do that freely. Now game 2, this is a funny game. So they go first again, and then their hand is going to be Spoofing, Compulsory, Ice Dragon's Prison, Manifestation, and Secret Village. And then our hand is Cosmic Ash, Bird Call, Nerval, Warbler. Like, these hands are pretty nice, like, I gotta say. What's the one thing about this deck that is good is that besides the Desirous hit, this deck lost no consistency, which is nice. So we're gonna draw a second Cosmic, and you can really see where this is going. So we have Ash Blossom for the Spoofing. We have Cosmic for both the back row, and then we have full combo. So yeah, that was just pretty funny. But that's gonna be it, guys. This video actually wasn't like tremendously long, considering there was 4 matches. Like, there's 25 minutes, like less than. But yeah, I hope this is like a good kind of like I wouldn't even say primer, but like kind of a teaser, if you will, of this deck. I want to show off a list after I refine it a little bit more. I think that it is actually not in a bad spot, this format. To be fair, like, it's kind of just a matter of like if you can deal with your opponent's like end board, if you can hand trap them sufficiently, because like that's kind of how the format is right now. But I still think this deck is pretty solid. It's adaptable, it's versatile, it's pretty fun. So that's gonna be it. Thanks guys for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys.